Used cars, where do they come from? What do we do with them when they get here? How do we make sure that they're reconditioned to sell? And lastly, how do we sell them and how do we price them? Well, that's what I'm here to teach you today. I'm your host, Shayne Couillard, and this is Dealership View. So I guess the first thing to talk about is where do we get used vehicles from? Well, the primary source of attaining a used vehicle would be customers trading in their previous car. Whether they're looking at a newer pre-owned vehicle or whether they're looking at a brand new car, most customers have a vehicle that they have to dispose of, so we trade them in. We'll buy them off the customer as part of the deal, and that's really the source of the best quality used vehicles. There are two other places that we can acquire vehicles from. The one is simply the fact that we're always open to buying somebody's car. If you have a good quality used vehicle that you don't need to buy something new, maybe you're not driving anymore, maybe your situation's changed but you just need to dispose of your car, we'll happily purchase it. Bring it in, we'll figure out what it's worth, we'll figure out what trade value is on it, and we'll make you an offer on buying a vehicle. The third place that we can acquire vehicles would be the auction. Daily rental companies take their entire inventory. Once they hit a certain kilometer range, whether it's 15,000 or 20,000 kilometers, and they run them through the auction where dealers buy them, and that's how they dispose of their cars. The other primary vehicle that runs at the auction that we do purchase would be executive-driven demos. An executive-driven demo, for example, in Ford World would be a vehicle that an exec at our office in Oakville has driven, and they've put 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 kilometers on, and then Ford takes those and they run them through a private sale at the auction that only Ford dealers can purchase them. Those are really the three main areas that we acquire trades trades or vehicles, and we're always looking to acquire more and more and more. I know at our store here we stock somewhere between 40 and 50, and we try to keep it within that range, and I mean it allows us to have enough that our customers can have a selection to choose from. But I guess the real process that we want to talk about is what do we do with the cars once they actually get here. It all begins the day the car actually arrives on the lot. We park them in our backyard initially. They all end up, we try to be uniform, keep them all in the same row so that in the mornings we can go through our inventory and we can figure out what we have and what we need to do. When, let's say, an F-150 arrives that we're going to sell as a pre-owned vehicle, the first and foremost thing that we do is we come out and we physically look at it. We have appraised it, we have looked at it, when the customer was initially trading it in, but it's always a good idea to refresh yourself on what the vehicle looks like. If I use this one for example, this particular F-150, we touched up a couple spots on it. Sometimes we get cars in that need body work. We can't send them out onto the lot, having a door ding down the side or a little rust spot on the hood. We try to make sure that we know what the vehicle needs so that we can take it through the appropriate steps to make sure that it's fully reconditioned for sale. I mean, we'll come out, we'll measure the tires, we'll look at the interior, see if maybe the fabric has a little crack in it. We'll check out the quality of how clean the vehicle is, how much of a detail is it going to need, and then from there, we try to prioritize what we do. Typically, the first thing that we're going to do is we write a work order to send it into the shop for safety, which I'll take you over there and introduce you to Neil, and we'll see how that kind of works. So the next part of the process is getting the vehicle in for safety inspection. We have to make sure that everything on a used vehicle is up to par. So our master tech over here, Neil, he's busy as always, or else I'd introduce him to you. He does all of our internal safety, so every single used vehicle goes through Neil's hands. So when they come into the shop, we check things like tire wear. If tire wear is under a certain point, we replace the tires. We're going to check brakes. I mean, if you take a quick look over there, it looks like Neil's doing a brake job on that truck right now. But we check brakes. We're going to check things like mufflers, exhaust, brake lines. We're going to check the emergency brake. We are going to check over everything on the vehicle to find out what it needs to make sure that we replace them so that the vehicle's safetyable. At our dealership specifically, we have a very high standard of how we like things safetied. We want to make sure that if a customer buys a used vehicle, they have the similar experience to buying a new vehicle. We want to make sure that when you leave here, you don't need brakes in 6 months, you don't need tires in 6 months, and more importantly, we want to make sure the vehicle's safety. We spend quite a bit on our safeties to make sure the vehicles are up to par or above par, and Neil does a phenomenal job of what he does to make sure that nothing gets missed. The next part of the process would be to take the vehicle into cleanup. Our used car detailer Brandon here does a phenomenal job of cleaning all our used. We pull them into the bay, we make sure that when every used vehicle hits the lot, it looks equivalent to a new vehicle, if not better, in all reality. Every area of the vehicle gets cleaned, from the floorboards to the seats to even inside of the vents, to make sure the quality is very good. This also allows us to make sure that we haven't missed any slight imperfections that need to be fixed, such as a dent in the door, maybe a little fabric tear in the seat that could be overlooked on a quick appraisal or a quick look at the vehicle. Brandon does a phenomenal job of detailing our used, and if you ever come through our lot, you'll notice that. I mean, it speaks for itself as you walk through. Cleans out boxes on trucks, everything else. The vehicles have to look good not only on the lot, but they have to look good for the next part of our process, which is online. So once they're through the shop safetied, once they're cleaned up, what's the next step? Well, there really only is one other primary step to make sure that our vehicles are merchandised and up on the internet. It's just that. It's the guy behind the camera here's job. What we do at this point is the keys are given to Daryl, our phenomenal cameraman here. Daryl takes the vehicles out, he takes them to a specific location, he photographs them, anywhere between 20 and 30 photographs of every single used vehicle, and then we try to do our very best to make sure a video is online. It's all about making sure the customer can see the car for what it really is, and they get a full view of the vehicle. There's nothing worse than going online, looking at a used car, and having 20 questions about options. His job is to make sure that he tries to highlight all the main options. If the vehicle has 20-inch wheels, if the vehicle has heated seats, if the vehicle has air-conditioned seats, if it has a moonroof, he's trying to photograph those options to make sure that the customer can see it whenever they go online and look at the car. So, vehicle's safetied, it's cleaned up, it's online. Now we get to sit back, kick our feet up and relax. Wrong. Now is where my work starts. Twice a week, 3 times a week, sometimes 4 times a week, I have to make sure that these cars are priced right. They have to be priced to market. We've done a video on this in the past. Try to be 2%-ish below market, but that's my job. It's making sure that the vehicles stay cleaned up on the lot, they stay looking good, the merchandise stays looking good, the descriptions are up to date, and at the end of the day, the pricing is on point and the pricing is key. We do this very consistently and keep checking the same vehicles over and over again until they're sold. The only other part of the process, I guess, is to actually sell the car, which, because of the photos, because of the condition, we get lots of customers calling us. Customers come in, they deal with one of our product experts, and if the vehicle is the right fit, hopefully for us, the customer buys it. Well, that's it, that's all. That's what we do with used vehicles. From the time they come in, to the time they're on the lot, to the time they're sold. Hope this video gives you a little bit of insight into what we actually do here at the dealership. My name's Shayne Couillard, Sales Manager at Blue Star Ford, and this has been your episode of Dealership View.